The research consistently shows that high-quality education and care early in a child's life yields a lifetime of benefits. We know that if we can have our youngest learners reading at grade level by grade 3, we can close the achievement gap, increase economic productivity, and decrease reliance on social services. Child care costs are also some of the biggest bills that working families face. In many of our states, in many of our districts, those costs exceed the costs of college tuition. I am grateful for the increases that we see in this bill in many of these areas, but my amendment restores necessary level of investment in 4 critical programs. The first is the Child Care and Development Block Grant, which serves 1.4 million children per year. This program yields a strong economic multiplier as it allows parents to join the workforce and contribute to the economy. My amendment provides the funding the Department of Health and Human Services says it requires to implement the updated quality health and safety standards Congress authorized in 2014. Without the funding in this amendment, over 217,000 children and their families will lose their child care. Second is the Head Start program. Despite the increases we have in this bill, last year, at the direction of Congress, the Head Start program updated its program's performance standards for the first time in over 40 years. The National Head Start Association says it needs the funding in this amendment to implement those standards, or else 120,000 of our most vulnerable children and families will be cut out of the program. Third is the Preschool Development Grants, which helps states build their capacity for high-quality preschool in a sustainable and lasting way. My amendment increases investments in this grant program to ensure that there is enough to meet demand. Finally, my amendment restores the funding for the Child Care Access Means Parents in School, commonly known as the C-Campus program. This program is the only federal funding stream that supports quality child care on campuses. Unaffordable child care is a significant barrier for parents who want to start or finish their degrees in order to earn bigger paychecks for their families. Close to 30% of college students today are parents, and that number is on the rise. Especially in my district, and I know in many of yours, as we look to community colleges to become that critical link to develop better skills to match job openings and economic trends, child care is critical for student success. The bill before us completely eliminates this program and that funding. My amendment would restore level funding from the last year's budget. If we are serious about our economic future, we have to support student parents and their families. Investing in children between ages of 0 and 5 is one of the best investments of scarce public resources that we can make. I encourage my colleagues to support this amendment, and I yield the balance of my time.
Thanks, the gentleman from Massachusetts. Chairman Cole.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I rise in opposition to the gentlelady's amendment, but before I do, the gentlelady is a very valued member of the subcommittee and frankly has done very good work since her arrival, and this is actually an area where we tend to find ways to cooperate and work together. The particular program the gentlelady mentioned, she mentioned a variety of programs, all of which were important. Some of them are very large, like Head Start, which is a $9 billion program. We have a modest increase. I'd like to do more, quite frankly, there. And the other, the child care program on college campus, relatively small program, about $15 million. But as the gentlelady suggested, it's important money, and it's an important program. I've approached this subcommittee with areas of priority, and people may or may not agree with them. Obviously, NIH has been a big priority. First generation college students, a big priority. People with disabilities, a big priority. And early childhood, a major priority. We've been able to make some gains there in the last couple of years. So while I have to oppose the gentlelady's amendment now, simply because it pushes us beyond our 302 be allocation. I want to also commit to her to work with her on this as we move forward. And look, I think Gentlelady performs valuable function in bringing these up and having a good discussion. Heaven knows there are many areas that, as Democrats and Republicans, we disagree on. But I'm very pleased. I want to give my ranking member a lot of credit for this too. I'm very pleased for those areas where we have been able to find common ground, and this is one of them. So again, as we go forward in the process, I'll be certainly working with my friend from Massachusetts and my good friend from Connecticut to see if there's some more that we can do in this area together, because the gentlelady's right. These are investments that pay off many, many, many times over as a child grows up and ages, and we see it in lower crime costs, we see it in more healthy relationships, we see it in better performance in school, we see it in greater success in life. So again, while I have to reluctantly urge the rejection of the amendment for allocation purposes, I want to reaffirm my commitment to work with the gentlelady as we go forward. Thank you, Mr.
Thank the gentleman for his comments. Ms. DeLauro is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I thank the chairman of the subcommittee for his comments as well. We do share these priorities, and it very well spoken about areas of priorities, and these are critically important issues, and we all believe that it's about child care development block grant and helping parents balance jobs with families, and the evidence that's out there about early childhood interventions, and that they work. They reduce inequality, they narrow an achievement gap. And I think that, just say two very quick things. Latest research, Nobel-winning economist James Heckman found that high-quality early education delivers a 13% return on investment through better outcomes in education, health, employment, and social behavior. This reduces taxpayer costs in the decades that follows, and he writes, and I quote, investing in the continuum of learning from birth to age 5 not only impacts each child, but it also strengthens our country's workforce and prepares future generations to be competitive in the global economy tomorrow, which is one of the reasons why, and another issue, these programs are so important. But along with Mr. Fleischman, we co-chair on a bipartisan basis something called the Baby Caucus, which focuses in on infants and toddlers. And to speak of bipartisan efforts, this caucus has been that way from the outset. I was co-chair with Congressman Rehberg of Montana and Congressman Duncan Hunter of California. So we understand we need to do more, and I look forward to working with my colleague and working with the chairman in increasing the funding for early childhood programs.
Thank you, Ms. DeLauro. Ms. Lowey is recognized.
I'll be brief, Mr. Chairman, but I just really appreciate the other chairman, my friend's comments, because this is so very important. And I just want to emphasize that I strongly support Ms. Clark's amendment. We know that early childhood education, like the Child Care Development Block Grant, Head Start, is absolutely critical for many low and middle income families. And I know many of my colleagues join me and so many of us and visit Head Start centers, child care centers, and really understand how important this is for our communities, in addition to the future of these young children who are benefiting. And we know that research has consistently shown that high-quality learning programs within the first 5 years of life do improve cognitive, social, emotional, language development. And these are such important, really essential skills for life. So I just want to thank Ms. Clark for introducing this and working with Mr. Fleischman and the chairman. And I do hope that we can really have an impact and focus on this absolutely essential part of the bill. Thank you.
Ms. Lowey, Ms. Clark, a minute to close.
Chairman, and I want to thank Mr. Cole for your willingness and your leadership on these issues, and especially to the ranking member, Ms. DeLauro, for her incredible work over the years. I hope we can see the increases in all these areas, but especially the C Campus program. It is a relatively small amount of money, but truly makes a difference for our student success and success of families. So thank you. We look forward to continuing work on this issue.